Lund is?
I'm gonna give
Vern Lund?
She deserves it.
Okay.
I'm not doing too well right now. Yeah. No, she's gonna get it. She's gonna have it. Yeah.
Call the meeting to order. Please join me in the salute to our flag of the nation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, welcome to Wednesday, May the 23rd, Hollister Airport Advisory Commission. Roll call.
Chairman Machado.
Here.
Chairman Houston.
Here.
Commissioners Judd.
Here.
Meyer.
Here.
Sunseri.
Here.
Martinez.
Here.
I am here, and Commissioner Scattini is marked absent.
Verification of agenda posting.
The agenda for the Airport Advisory Commission of the City Hall regular meeting on May 23rd, 2018 was posted on the bulletin board at City Hall on May 16th at 10 a.m. per Government Code Section 54954.2.
Item 5, consent approval of the minutes of the Airport Advisory Commission meeting of April 25th.
I make a motion we pass the meeting, the minutes for the April 25th meeting.
Second that.
Motion and a second. All those approve?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Public input. Is there anybody in the audience who would like to address the commission anything other than what's on the agenda? All right, moving on. Number 7, reports. Airport Improvement Program Rehabilitation Runway 13-31, Phase 17, or Phase 117.
So the paving's complete. Airport's back open, obviously. The only thing left to do on that project is the paperwork and to put the permanent markings on, which is going to occur at night towards the end of June. There's a window that the asphalt has to cure before we can put the paint on properly. Okay.
So that went on schedule.
Yep. No surprises. We're going to... that grant will be closed out by the end of June.
Question. The painting, will that be the entire runway will be painted?
No,
Just the north end?
just the area they were working in. While the
Do we have the permanent markings on the rest of it?
yes,
Oh, okay.
while the runway was closed, we actually went and repainted the rest of it.
Oh, okay.
So that's already happened.
Okay.
Who was the contractor?
Us. I held the flashlight at 5 o'clock in the morning. Ronnie was on the machine, and Adam was holding the other flashlight at 4 o'clock in the morning. And we knocked it out. But whoever keeps landing on the numbers, could you please just go a little further down the runway? It's expensive.
Any other questions on A? CAL FIRE update.
Nothing to report, really.
I was going to say please, but I guess it won't matter.
Air TAC is in and operating.
They are here. They are operating. There's a pretty big fire, I guess, today, down at the end of the runway, on the other side of the freeway.
Yeah, I noticed San Felipe and 156.
Yeah.
They flew that?
I don't know. They did. They flew something. I was running from meeting to meeting to meeting. So
Okay, 7C, building improvement, restaurant, Old Navy Brig.
So the grease interceptor, which was supposed to be here at the end of May, is here. So that's good. Staff has been directed to go ahead and get that installed, run the new sewer line out to the main, and to get the plumbing completed in the building by the time I get back from my trip, which will be mid-July. The Monday night, the city council gave me a supplemental appropriation for $15,000 to order the vent hood for the building. That order has been placed, so it's a long lead time item. We hope to see it about the same time. So once we get the plumbing in, get the floor back in, we can start to work on that. And then we have to deal with the supply lines, but that's relatively straightforward.
So once it's complete, then we advertise?
That would be my recommendation.
Do you have any tentative tenants now, or?
Lots of people want in there now that the work's been done. No one wanted to do the work, but
Any other questions on 7C? 7D, ALP narrative,
narrative.
I'm sorry.
So I got the.
Terminology.
We had to have a conference call yesterday. That was interesting. The good news is I got the response final copies today. I actually shared them with Dean. And we'll be getting the hard copies next week, sign them to submit to the FAA for their wet stamp, and it's done. But to get there, during yesterday's conference call, we spent about 20 to 40 minutes on one item, and that is the windsocks that are located at 31, 24, and 13. They are inside the runway object-free area and are non-standard geometry. So lots of discussion occurred. At first, they wanted them relocated, which meant the middle of Swank Farms, where the pilots wouldn't be able to see them anyway. And then they wanted them, well, we could go through a 4-year process of permitting them in place, and it just was a circle. I mean, for 40 minutes. And finally, after that, I said, look, by law, we're only required to have the one in the segmented circle, correct? Yes. I'm taking them down. Move on. Next item. So the windsocks, the supplemental windsocks that have been out there forever are coming down. I can be convinced to start that 4-year process once we have the wet stamp on the ALP. But until the ALP is done, we're just not going to rock the boat. It's been 2 years.
Yes, sir.
What? Oh, question. So you don't have like frangible windsocks or something?
They are frangible.
So why are these?
They are objects in the object-free area.
So are taxiway lights.
That was pointed out.
And what'd she say about that? We have to eliminate the taxiway lights?
Probably next ALP.
Huh?
Probably at the next ALP. I don't know. It makes no sense, but to move the project on and to completion, we had to agree to remove them. They will be removed tomorrow.
What's this 4-year thing?
It's some sort of variance process that you got to go through with the FAA to get permission to have something in the object-free area.
Oh, so you're going to try and get permission to get them back?
Once I have a wet stamp on an ALP
okay.
in my hands,
I understand. Okay, now
I could be
understand.
convinced if it's critical to go through begin that process. It
Well,
will
the
be
windsock
expensive.
in the middle and the windsock at the end often disagree.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's important to have them, personally.
Okay.
So, yes.
So once we get the ALP, we'll start that battle.
A question,
Yes.
not knowing a whole lot of this, but just as a question. Is there a problem with compliance with FAA?
Is there a problem?
With compliance? In other words, because you're going to take this action, would there be any sort of regulation issue?
No, it brings us into compliance.
Okay,
We are currently out of compliance.
okay, okay.
So in order to get the ALP approved, get the grant, the design grant going for the parallel taxiway, we need to be in compliance.
Okay.
The easiest path to compliance
Is what
is
you
to
did.
remove
Okay,
the
gotcha.
windsocks.
Okay, thank you.
We're not removing the cans, we're just gonna unscrew the pole and put a plug in the hole.
Don't throw them away.
We won't throw them away.
Don't throw them away.
We won't throw them away. We're going to store them in hangar number 27, 23, 20-something over there.
You're trying to imply in my hangar.
Hey, Dean, yeah, if you're lucky, we can call Mike and he'll run out there with the flag while you're landing.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. All right, well, we'll talk more later.
Just leave one of those remove before flight things on the end of your airplane and see which way it's blowing.
Has there been modifications to the object-free area? Why is this coming up now after 50 years?
Because
I
we got a
don't know.
new person at the FAA.
I don't know.
New coach, new approach.
You just keep finding new things.
They're not the only agency that does that.
As long as it's just small items and not large items, we're okay.
At least I didn't have to move a building or something, you know.
Good.
That
Well, how
flagpole
did you
okay?
manage
We
not to
spent
have to
about
do that?
we spent about 2 months discussing moving a few buildings, and I said you're out of your cotton picking mind. But
Because
anyway.
there are buildings in the way, aren't
There are.
Yeah.
So how did we get by with that?
I'm not sure.
Better check that flagpole you just put up.
Experts argued, and it is shorter. Experts argued, and that problem went away.
Any other discussions on 7?
No.
D?
Any constructive? No.
8, old business. A is flagpole picnic area.
So we had a wonderful event on Saturday dedicating the memorial. There's a slight hiccup with my videographer. Didn't quite start when I started talking, but got most of it. We'll be sending a gift to the author that helped us with the narrative, and we're going to send him a flag that we had flown over the Pentagon in his father's honor. His father was one of the aviators in that squadron and earned a Distinguished Flying Cross. So we're going to fly that. We had that flown above the Pentagon in his honor. We'll be mailing that to him along with a copy of the videotape and the goodies that we handed out at the event. He lives in Sutton, Tennessee.
And
Auckland, Tennessee, or something like that. It's some weird place.
who is this again? I'm sorry.
His name is Gregory Fletcher. When I so this thing's been kicking around in my head for years, and I spent considerable time on my own time trying to find a complete list of squadrons that passed through the airport. And I couldn't. I even took my son to Alameda on a Saturday to go through their stuff because we were attached to Alameda thinking they would. But their list didn't jive with anything that I came up with. So my biggest fear was to forget somebody and to make a mistake. So I became aware of this book that had an entire chapter on their training in Hollister. And it follows this group of draft pilots through the start all the way through their experience through World War II to the Leyte Gulf. And the entire chapter was on training at Hollister. So I reached out to that author and said, I'd like to do a memorial and use that squadron as a representative example of everybody that was trained at Hollister. But, we only have records on who these guys were and what that is. And he graciously agreed to that. He helped and let us use stuff, and he was a huge help. So very appreciative of Mr. Fletcher.
This is the son of one?
This is the son of one of the pilots.
And the son wrote the book?
The son wrote the book.
Thanks.
It's called Intrepid Aviators, and I encourage you all to read it. It's a great, great story. His father got shot down going up against the sister ship to the Yamato. He survived. He was stranded on a desert isle in the South Pacific for a period of time and was rescued. But this particular squadron is credited with the sinking of the Muwachi, which was the sister ship to the Yamato, which was the largest battleship ever built.
You did a great job in setting that all up. I'd like to compliment you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah.
It wasn't me. It was Cheryl and Tony and Adam and Ronnie and my guys. I just
You know,
pointed.
The son of the commanding officer who closed the air base, he was there.
He was.
I didn't meet him till after he came up. I said, whoa. Yeah, his father closed the air base. All right, anything else? New business. 4th of July presentation.
So the fireworks are happening on the 4th of July. We received a generous donation from Sal Rubino to add to the show, and a contract was able to be hashed out with the presenters to add to the show. So there'll be a little extra out there courtesy of Sal. I believe Sal's planning an event at your building this year, which should help with logistics a little bit better so that we can have the people at the Jerry Gabe hangar end of things, and Sal's events can taxi out the north end, so that'll work a lot better. I am fortunately or unfortunately, I'll be seeing how they celebrate the 4th of July in Switzerland, if all goes well. And so,
Patriotic.
I'm sorry?
Pretty patriotic.
Yeah, I'm sure fireworks are everywhere. I might actually have a quiet for 4th of July for the first time ever. Staff at the airport is all scheduled to handle stuff. I'm going to have my parks manager be out there just to make sure everything goes wonderfully. He has the authority to call in whatever resources we need for whatever it is. So, Tony. So 4th of July at dark, stuff will be going. We'll have the airplanes out beforehand. We'll have the chairs set up. It'll be a fun time.
And the kids' planes?
The-
2 kids' planes?
There may only be one. There's a problem with the other one.
The kids don't
Yeah, I know that.
sit in it.
Yeah, well, that's the problem with the other one.
All right, any other questions?
Next time you're out there, tell me to show it to you.
Just to make sure I understand, this is on the 4th of July, right?
On the 4th of July,
Because I got a
Wednesday.
letter in the mail and I was a little, talked about, I think, things run from 8 to 9 or something. But that seems early.
Starts, well, normally the gates open around 7 and run till about.
Okay, well, it wasn't completely clear
10.
to me what was going on. Okay, thanks, that's all I wanted to know.
We'll be sweeping the runway at dark so that we can do this. We'll be
Yeah,
closing the runway for sweeping.
Yeah, that letter said something about cleaning up the runway between 8:30 and 9:30.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounded like that's when the show should be on.
They will be.
Okay.
All right. B, AIP 19, Airport Improvement Project.
We talked about that already.
Okay.
That was 7D.
All right, items for next agenda. I can read the first one.
Station
Fire
three.
Number 3. Is
Yeah,
it 3
there
or
you go.
5?
What?
3?
What are you saying?
Fire station number 3
Oh.
for next agenda. And pattern altitude discussion
Yeah.
for next agenda.
I did read that that got changed.
Well, we haven't changed ours yet.
Well, it will be changing.
If he does it,
According to the FAA, it has to be done.
I believe he has to
Yeah,
do it.
yeah.
7A, you'll get one more report on. 7B, I don't know what I'll be able to tell you. 7C, I'll give you an update. 7D, I'll give you an update. 8A is done. 9A, I'll give you a report. And hopefully we can start talking about AIP 20.
Oh, and that's the next thing,
Yes,
taxiway?
yes.
Ooh,
And run-up area,
ooh.
yes.
Okay, any other items for the agenda? Why is number 11 on there? Action items. Action items.
Well, if there's anything that
Whoops.
has to be done.
I wrote it in the wrong spot. I didn't have my glasses on.
In case
Sorry.
Okay, next meeting date, August the 22nd. No meeting in June or July.
That is correct.
And 22nd is a good date? Can't say no.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Do I have a
Second?
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So be it.